Family Day. We have something special we want to do. We have something special we want to do. I like special stuff. The Mason family, can you come forward? I love this. This is good stuff. Yeah.
Good morning, Christ Temple North.
Good morning.
So I wanted to come up here and say something really special to this church, to our pastor, to Isaac, to Sister Gwen. And this Wednesday, Melissa and I celebrated our 10th anniversary. Now, she didn't know about this. Isaac and I kind of plotted against her because I wanted to surprise her. She didn't like getting in front of people, so I'll take the blame for it. But that's kind of how our relationship works. Sometimes she's the glue that holds us together. I'm out screwing it up, so I take a lot of lessons from pastors, so I try to just keep my mouth shut and listen. Almost 15 years ago, Isaac moved next door to Melissa, and she found this church. So God really works in mysterious ways, and I found Melissa, and it was January 2007, I got brought in here, and I know she thought I was just a smooth talker trying to impress her. I was. But then this guy started in. And his first lesson, or his first message I ever heard was called, I Can't Come Down. Now, I don't remember the lesson because he's had so many great lessons since then, but I do remember the title of that. It's always stuck with me all these years. And so now I can finally say it took me a marriage and 3 beautiful children who've all been christened by Pastor Fields to figure out I can finally come down. And I truly appreciate everything that this church body's done for us, our pastor, Sister Gwen, Isaac. Isaac's the type of guy, I was at airport in Houston, I was sitting on a plane getting ready to go, and I look over, I see another plane, I see a ground crew member, and they blessed the flight, I could watch it doing everything, and I was like, I shot him a text, I said, I'm so grateful you're in my life, because that's the type of stuff that Isaac does for us, day in and day out. He doesn't ask for anything, he just says, yeah, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking about you, so it's been a really special part of our life as well, so really appreciate everything you guys have done for us, and I truly believe we're standing here today because of this church, and the membership and everything that our pastor has been. So, thank you.
Before we get started, we'll be a little longer. We don't usually do it. You know what I like about this church? I don't know if you all read the paper on the Kansas City Star had an article about liberty and the racism that's going on in the schools of liberty. And a little black girl went to her teacher and said, I wish I wasn't black because of all that she was doing. I wouldn't go to a church unless it was integrated, period. And we're going to have to start doing that. For the rest of
Love is created.
to get a lesson today. And you remember, some of you all have been with me a long time. Remember me doing the 16 deadly deeds. And the 16 deadly deeds is something that here's the key. Satan comes to kill, to steal, and destroy. And when those beautiful Christians, when those some beautiful young ladies, baby girls, well, you know that Satan wants to kill, to steal, and destroy those young ladies. And he starts doing that by entering into those that are responsible for that, right? Because he doesn't want any of us successful. You all do know that, right? The one thing that he does not want us to do is be successful. He doesn't want your families together. You do know that, right? Satan's about divorce. Yeah, Satan's about tearing up. Satan's about molestation. Satan's about abuse. That's what he's about, doing all those things. He's about lies. He's about all of the things that he can do to destroy you, because the scripture says that we know who he is and what he's about. Satan comes to kill, to steal, and destroy. But Jesus said, but I come to give you life, and life more full, or life more abundant. So what God wants to give you, Satan wants to take from you. Do y'all understand that? You can't make it. Are we going to the benediction and go home? You got that? You see, that's what he wants to do. He wants to tear your marriages up, tear your families up, tear your finances up, tear your body up. All of these are the things. And sometimes people get upset at me when I talk about how we are digging our graves with our teeth. Well, they get mad at me. Oh, I shouldn't say yeah, should. Because that's the trick. Anything he can do to destroy us, drinking, eating, lying, whatever he can do to destroy us, he does those things to destroy us. Because he does not want us to be successful. He don't want you to have a good life. Why would Satan want you to have a good life? Why would he want you to have life and life more full? Because you know what? I'll just use marriage before. What is the first institution that God ever created in the Bible? It's called marriage. That's the first institution. Well, he hates that. Right? What does he want us fathers to do? Take care of our children. That's why there's so many fathers not in the home. Because he hates that. You know, why do mothers do? You know what's not? So I'm going to try to help you out a little bit today. And it won't be long, but it'll be enough that you can chew on for a while. You see, so the Bible tells us these things. Now listen, I like 2 Corinthians, I'll read it. 2:11 says, lest Satan get advantage of us, for we know we're not ignorant of his devices. We know what his device. If you come out of this church, you know what Satan's all about. Because we talk about it. We're not afraid to talk about the devil, right? And see, now if you're mad about this lesson, ain't two people mad about it, y'all know what I'm saying is the devil and those got the devil in them. Right? So here's where we're going. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It ain't got to do with me. I'm just bringing the message. You know, I'm just, don't be stoning the messenger. If you want to get the message, God's the one that's giving the message. So we're not. So what we want to do is talk about the three. These are the things that Satan uses to destroy us as individuals. And one of the things that he does to destroy us is disappointment. If he can get you to get disappointed, he got you. You see, because sometimes, when we get disappointed, sometimes we forget what the scriptures say. Disappointment.
Disappointment is sadness, regret.
That's what he wants us to do, to get into sadness or regret.
Displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hope or expectation.
And see, so sometimes we feel disappointed because we are upset because our hope didn't come through. You know, when they were praise singing up here, I was walking here and I was praising God and thanking God when Isaac had you all going. And what I was thanking God for was that I didn't get to go ahead and fulfill those scholarships to play sports. And I was thanking God that I didn't go ahead and stay at Hallmark and retire. I was thanking Him for that. I was thanking God that I didn't go to the military because I wanted to go to Special Forces Airborne. Got right out of school, wanted to go there. And didn't make it. Heart murmur. That's what they said. They didn't take it. You do everything else, but you can't go. But anyway, so I was thanking God for that. Because I was praising Him. And I said this to Him. You all can hear me. That I'm so grateful, God, that you made me the pastor of Christ. So a lot of times, children, we need to understand that disappointment, only when we really get disappointment, we're forgetting who God is. And Romans 8:28 tells us this. I guess that's what that, right?
Yep. I'm going to read it from the NIV, from the Voice, and then from the Message. The NIV says that we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose.
So sometimes, you may not be where you want to be, but you need to understand this scripture. God's got a calling and a purpose that's bigger than your dreams for yourself.
That's right. That's right.
God's got a place for you, and that place God has got for you is going to be better than the thing that you think. Oh, it would have been nice, but all the things that I want to do is self-fulfilling. You see? But God put me in a place where He could fill with me with the Holy Spirit, and I can help with wisdom and knowledge and understanding to help fill other people's lives. I didn't know that young man was going to come up here and talk about his family in Christ Temple North. I'm not that smart. Good thing, I wish it was. That was good. You see, I'm not that smart, people. But God put that young man up here, and he doesn't know it today, but he's ministering. He ministers to some folks in here whose relationship's about to fall apart. Yeah, it's about to fall apart. What you need to do to keep it together. Y'all with me? You see, because God had a greater purpose. He had one thing in mind, but God had a better thing in mind for him. And look how it's working out for him. You understand what I'm saying? All right, amen to that. All right, keep going.
The Voice says it this way. We are confident that God is able to orchestrate everything to work towards something good and beautiful.
So God He wants to work something good and beautiful in your life. I'm telling you, if you're where God wants you to be, you'll have a beautiful life. It's not more money that you need sometimes. Can I say this? Say, Pastor. It's sometimes not somebody you need sometimes, right? Right? But He's got something better for you to do. See, sometimes God has got you on hold. You see, when you're all upset, and He uses, remember Satan used that thing, wants you to get discouraged. And when you get all discouraged because you done forgot these scriptures. I'm not going to get discouraged because I know that God has got me in a waiting place sometimes. All right? Because He's got something better for me. Now, I hope that I get the job at Sprint. I'm just using that. And God has said, no, I got a better job with you at Ford. You see what I'm saying? I hope that I would get a scholarship to go to this college. God said, no, I got a better one for you over here. And some folks say you don't need to go at all. You need to get a job, right? You see? But that's going to make you happier than what you were dreaming to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Once I believe this, I'm not going to be disappointed, discouraged, disappointed. I'm not going to be disappointed. Some of you sitting here right now, you're disappointed with where your life is. Well, don't get disappointed where your life is. Read the scripture. And follow the Holy Spirit's got something better for you. Ask Him to give you a spiritual revelation. He'll give you a spiritual revelation. He says, I want you to do this time. I want you to be over here for a while. You understand? And then He'll put you over here. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a thing that I tell the runners that used to come out because some of the slower runners want to be sprinters and some of the sprinters, they don't want to be none but sprinters, but some of the slower runners want to be sprinters. And I say, hey, that's your dream. But you got to play in your realities. You see? See, sometimes, so what I do is I have my visions and my dreams for me, but I have to, hey, come on, live in God's spiritual revelation for me. Am I making any sense to anybody else? All right, so this is where we at right now. I don't care what you've been through in your life. The only person that cares what you've been through past is Satan and you and his people. Are you moving forward? So again, you didn't lie about it. But so, all right, keep going. I'm just getting all excited about this message. All right?
The scripture says that God wants something good and beautiful when we love Him and accept His invitation to live according to His plan.
God's got an invitation for you to live according to His plan. Now, when somebody gives you an invitation, that don't mean you got to take it.
That's right.
Come on here. You see? But when He gives you that, there's a bunch of folks up in here. Amen, visitors, some folks have never been in here before. Well, God put you here this day to hear this message, period. Right? He's giving you an invitation to live a better life than you're living. You don't have to take the invitation, but the invitation is there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somebody say amen to me. All right. So the question is, are you taking the invitation that God has given you? Or are you on your own giving out invitations? invitations, right?
Right.
Now say amen if you've done it. Some of you had some invitations someplace you went that you shouldn't have went. Well, God's invitation is where you need to go in your life. All right.
The message says it this way. He knows us far better than we know ourselves.
And for real, he knows us far better. He's the one that put the potential in me. You see, he's the one that gave me all of the gifts, talents, and abilities that I have. So surely he knows me better than I know me. All right.
Knows our condition.
He knows my condition.
And keeps us present before God.
And he keeps, the Holy Spirit keeps me present before God. Right? The Bible says the Holy Spirit will intercede and pray for us. Because sometimes the Bible says we ought not know what we should pray for. Do you make sense? Am I making sense to you? Am I going too fast? All right.
That's why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked into something good.
For what that is, he's read, I'm going to read it again. I can't be disappointed if I'm listening to God and I'm in the Spirit. Because when disappointment is a trick of who? It's a trick of the devil. He wants me to be disappointed because he knows that God is working into something good for me. He knows that God is giving me an invitation to a better life. He knows that God has a better plan for my life. He knows that God has a better purpose for my life. So he don't want me to do it. He's trying to steal that. So he wants me to get disappointed. He'll do things. You ever know how every now and then you're doing really good and then you all at once it's like, wow, what's going on? And it's really just life. But he wants you to get disappointed, so disappointed about life that you forget who gave you life. Oh, you're going to get what I'm talking about. He wants you to get so disappointed about your life that you get depressed and stressed out. You see what I'm saying? That's a trick of the devil. So the Bible says that Satan knows, we should know his advance. He's trying to, he wants us to be ignorant to what? He wants us to be ignorant to God's calling for us. He wants us to be ignorant to God's purpose. You understand? We had two young girls up here. Don't nobody know where they ended up. One of them could be the first female black president of the United States. Somebody won't be it.
That's right.
Why could it be one of these, right?
That's right.
You see, so that we should do everything we can to raise our children in these different generations to find the purpose in God. Not what God called them to do, not what we desire them to do. I tell people all the time about your education. Education is what you paid for. Huh? Your purpose is what God made you for. You understand what I'm saying? And so for us to do that, we have to be spiritual enough to be connected with the Holy Spirit to figure out what it is. Don't raise your hand. But some of you all in here are disappointed. You go to work, but you don't want to be there. Well, God didn't put you there. You put yourself there. Because there's a good career. The career won't give you joy. The only thing you can have with a career that can give you happiness when you get paid, and then by the week later you're done. Right? So are y'all with me? So what Satan wants to do is he wants me to be disappointed. So he does things to disappoint me.
That's right.
All right, so that is a trick of the devil. So next time that you're in a situation or circumstance that you think that you're going to be disappointed, here's what you need to do. Say, Satan, you a lie. You a lie. I'm in this situation, this circumstance, because God's got a better place for me. And sometimes he has to put me in a place to work that spiritual muscle. Say that. Spiritual muscle, so I can walk out of it.
That's right.
Y'all know I talk about spiritual muscle all the time. So he uses that disappointment. Disappointment. Say that. Disappointment. Satan, you a liar. I cannot be disappointed. Because I know that God is working in my life for his purpose. And as long as I'm working in my life for his purpose, I got joy and success. That's how it works. Here's what you need to do to some of these folks around you that disappoint you, or when that spirit disappoints you. You need to say, you will not steal my joy. You will not steal my joy. I will not be disappointed. People are disappointed in their grown children. That is plumb crazy. How you going to be disappointed of another adult who's made the choice to be ignorant? I'm not the hell it goes because everybody looking at me like I'm crazy. Right. They've chosen to do that. I ain't disappointed. My kids are grown. My kids can't disappoint me. But they wrong for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You all my, I love some of y'all, I gotta love you all. God. I love you. I love you all in here, y'all. Love you all in here. Can't nobody in this church disappoint me. Because that ain't none of my business. You see, if I get disappointed, then that's going to do what? Choke out the faith that I have in God.
That's right. That's right.
You understand? He didn't put me here to be disappointed. He put me here to give a message. You see, I can't get disappointed because somebody ain't listening. They going to be disappointed later on because you. Is that right? So we're not going to let that spirit of disappointment because we know where that comes from. The next one is it discouragement?
It's another device Satan uses.
Satan uses discouragement. I'm going to have to tell you. All right, go ahead with the first and then I'll tell the story.
Discouragement is a loss of confidence or enthusiasm.
Now, what happened to you? What happened to you? Once you had that, man, you was just fired up. And you were doing really good in your life. You had confidence in your life. But what happened to you? I've seen this a lot of times. Say amen to me. That some people really had a lot of confidence. Look at my mouth, you people in here, because I'm fired up. All right? You had all going on in your life, and somebody came in your life and you lost total confidence in yourself because you listened to what they said you were and got caught up in it. And the street we call it you bit. You're white. I'm not going to bite and use my confidence because somebody tells me who I ain't. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Oh, yeah. I'm on video, so I got to be kind. All right.
Discouragement is also hopelessness.
Hopelessness. What caused you to be hopeless? All right? Gloom.
Low spirits.
Low spirit. First, you ever see somebody, they just fired up. Maybe you see them, they say, how you doing? And they say, how you doing? I'm kicking, but not high. I'm flying, but low. Yeah. And you wanted to ask them, well, I would ask them, who stole your joy? Come on here. Who stole your confidence? Huh? Why do you have a low spirit? Trick the devil. See, the devil wants you to be discouraged. And he will do things to discourage you. And he'll put people in your life. He'll put people in your life to discourage you. Yeah, he will. All right, well, now here's the story, because I don't want to read the whole thing. David had him and his men went off to war. And while they was out war winning the victory, some of his enemies came in and took their camp, took all the women and all the children. And when the men got back, they were upset at David. But David was doing his job. But see, sometimes, you think people are wicked. Like church, see, all y'all with me now, because I'm up here doing, if you let me do something, y'all hear the pastor? That's how that goes. The very people that was in his army, the very people that had been under his command for all these years, okay, when they got home and their wives and children were gone because the enemy took them, they wanted to, the rest you can read it from here.
That's right. This is reading from 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6 from the NIV. So David was greatly distressed.
He was greatly distressed.
Because the men were talking of stoning him.
Because he was discouraged. Because the same people said they loved him. Now they want to stone him. Have you ever done that? Some people you helped, some people you thought loved you, they're the first one to pick up the stones. So he was what? He was discouraged. He was distressed. Go ahead.
It says each one was bitter in spirit because of his sons and daughters.
Well, they were upset because they were bitter because they lost their sons and their daughters. Okay? They thought. Okay?
But David found strength in the Lord his God.
Listen to me. Y'all need to hear me. Sometimes when you're going through something, you need to find strength in the Lord your God. When people get to acting around, you got to find strength in him. Your strength is in God. You can make it do just about anything. Because your strength is where? And sometimes David had to do it. Did somebody do it for him? No. David done it for himself. The Bible said he done it for himself. David found strength in the Lord. Sometimes you got to go for yourself. Sometimes you got to strengthen yourself. You open up your scriptures and you open up your Bible and say, I'm going through some tough stuff right now. I'm going through a bad situation right now. And there's nobody there but you. You by yourself. You think God's still there. Find strength in the Lord. You understand? Sometimes you got to sing to yourself. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. I remember one time I was at the KU Relays and I went down to watch some of the pros warm up, and it was on the curve, and this kid was going through there and he was just doing all this, and he was saying, stride, focus, talking to himself. Just talking about stride, focus. You all know what I'm talking about. You're just trying to stay focused, because when you run the curve different, you run straight away. And so he was working on his curve running, right? But he was talking to himself. You got to stride, focus. You see what happens is, wasn't no coach out there. Huh? Wasn't nobody out to tell him to do, so he's talking to himself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you're like in a boxing match, you need to go to the corner, you got to talk to yourself, but the trainer ain't out there. You see, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to do it yourself. It's you and God. You got to do this in God. It's just you and me out here. Strengthen me. In spite of what people are saying about me. In spite of who walks away from me. Lord, strengthen me. In spite of what, you see, somebody else can do something. A family member can do something, and they'll come at you. You say, no, Lord, strengthen me. Not to get caught up in other people's situations. Strengthen me.
The message said David strengthened himself.
What, say that again?
David strengthened himself.
He strengthened himself. Say this. Sometimes, Pastor, I need to strengthen myself. I love you, Pastor, but sometimes I need to preach to myself. Say it.
The voice said David took comfort in the eternal one, his true God.
He took comfort in it. He knew the script. He stayed with it. And he took comfort in God. You got to take comfort in God. Sometimes you ain't got a place to lay your head. Sometimes you by yourself. You see, some of you have never been in major surgery. When you take major surgeries, for some of us have been through there, they come in there and the family's in there and they praying for you, you know, and you're going to be all right, you know, that kind of stuff. And they go through all that kind of stuff, right? And then they come and get you and roll you. By yourself. By yourself. And it's only about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, Brother Roger, but it seems like it's an hour. And they roll you up under all them lights. You see, you look at all them lights, and they got folks all around you, and you see, you by yourself. And the only comfort you got is in God. All I remember is I was praying to God, next thing I remember I woke up. And God was with me, and I strengthened myself in God. They don't have a chaplain in there. The pastor ain't in there. It's just you and some strangers in there. And the only one that you know you have a relationship in there is you and God.
That's right.
Are y'all with me?
That's right. Amen.
All right.
The last device Satan uses is despair.
Despair. What is despair?
Despair is the state of undergoing pain.
So sometimes it hurts. You see, it hurts. But Satan will bring despair upon you, okay, in your pain, and it'll cause you to be what?
Distress.
Distressed.
It's hardship caused by injury.
It's hardship caused by injury. There's some of you here got injured. You hurt. And blaming that on God ain't nothing to do. That's your body falling apart. Yeah? You know? God ain't got to do that. It's in the other church that one y'all go to sometimes come out of. See, they blame all that stuff on God. You know why I got bones and things and probably they said, Mr. Fuse, you're going to have a little arthritis in the knee. And the sugar that's called football. And it has nothing to do with God. Now, wait a minute. Some of you, let me say yes, I do. Some of you, some of the stuff that you're going through is called drinking too much, smoking too much, eating too much. And got nothing to do with God, do you?
All right.
Get off all that.
That's right.
Get right on down. Wait a minute. And some of you are hurt and got a pain in your life, right? He didn't put that person in your life. You chose that person in your life. So get off God. You see, you couldn't talk about God. Give me another one. He ain't gonna come on here, because I'm not life. I'm about life, and I believe in life, and the things that life is about. Some things are just life. Has nothing to do with God. But He will help me and sustain me to get out of that situation.
That's right.
But I'm not going to blame Him for putting me into something I put myself into.
That's right.
All right, give me a minute to take a breath here a minute. All right, here we go. What am I at?
Despair is also illness, loss, physical, mental, or emotional pain.
And sometimes you go through some mental or emotional, and a lot, not all, but a lot of mental and emotional pain is because some of the households we come out of. Some of the situations we've dealt with, you see, and it's brought on mental and emotional pain. But there is a God that can deliver us from that mental and emotional pain. They're talking about Johnson County right now has one of the highest suicide rates for teenagers in the country. Well, see, some of that stuff, God's the only person that can go in these people's lives. But he can't go to school. But maybe he can go to their house.
Well,
He can't go to school. They want him up there until somebody shoots everybody up. But here's how this works. Y'all know this is true. We lose it. We lose it because we try to do it ourselves. You see, we can't do it ourselves. And let me tell you, if you've lived long enough, you're going to get some emotional pain. Yeah, somebody's going to let you down. Oh yeah, somebody's going to do something really crazy. And it's going to hurt you. You see, it could be a child. You've done everything right. Got them to church, tried to raise them, tried to do things, and they decided to go a different way. And that can bring in emotional pain. Because other people can cause you to hurt and be pain. But you ain't got to live that. All right. I'm about done here, I think.
Pastor, the Bible talks about despair in 2 Corinthians chapter 4,
Okay, now
verse 8 and 9.
right, so despair. Despair is a trick of who?
devil.
And despair will make you forget you're a Christian.
That's right.
I said despair will make you forget you're a Christian. And despair will also, and if I get kind of pronounced on this, all right, despair will also cause you to forget the scriptures. Yeah, because it's easy on Sunday morning up in here. Oh, but when you start getting hit with them hooks and them upcuts, it's a whole different ballgame. And see, so Satan will use despair. Yes, he will use despair. He'll use emotional pain. And he'll use mental pain and illness and all of these things. Let me tell all y'all something. Guess what we all got in common? Life. Everything we just read here. You're going to experience all of them or some of them. It's just life. All right? Am I doing all right, brother? Am I doing all right, brother Nathan? Am I good? You see? What do you think? What upsets me for Christians? Just because you went down in that water, took Jesus Christ, your personal Lord and Savior, got baptized to the Holy Spirit, ain't nothing supposed to happen to you. Where is that at in here? I don't know, it must be in the Holy Quran or something, because it showed up in at least in here. But it gives me the strength.
Yes.
It gives me the strength to overcome these things and to be successful from these things. And then I'm not going to go and have despair because, you know, when I've had illness, you all know my story. I've had illness, and this is no real serious illness. And it's nothing to laugh about. But see, look at you all in here. You all should never have despair. There shouldn't be a person that's got sick in this church that has despair because God has put somebody in front of them that's a 3-time cancer survivor and is still out here preaching the gospel. That's his voice. Sometimes his voice is you look at somebody else that's been successful. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, when somebody like our brother DJ said, hey, 10 years ago, I was a crack addict and become now a minister and getting ready to not only minister in here, to minister in the school to help the other young men to find their way out of the dark place. That's why I'm talking to you. He doesn't have to talk to you with a voice that you can hear. Sometimes he talks to you with your eyes if you would just see. You see, so you won't have despair. Because somebody has been through what you're going through, and Satan has put the trick on you to be despair instead of listening to a lesson that you got one Sunday. That young man said he got a lesson 10 years ago that helped him to live the life that he's living today. Do you understand? So when Satan, you got to tell Satan, you a lie. Ain't going to be no despair in my life today. I got to deal with this pain. Take some pills. I got to deal with it. You see, it's hardship sometimes, all right? Get file bankruptcy. Do whatever you got to do. Get out of that mess. Leave somebody over there, whatever you got to do. But I refuse to live a life, come on here, of despair because Jesus Christ did not promise me a life of despair. Say amen to that. Jesus Christ promised me a life of abundance. And Satan's trying to steal it, but he's alive today. Isn't that right? Is he alive today? He's not going to steal from you. All right, here we go.
This scripture talks about life, Pastor. It says, we are hard pressed on every side,
The Bible's telling you sometimes you're going to be hard pressed on what? On every side.
but not crushed.
But Brother Phil, we ain't going to get crushed. There's going to be some hard times. We're going to take some hits. But we will not be crushed according to the scriptures. All right?
It says we're going to be perplexed,
We're going to be perplexed.
but not in despair.
But we ain't going to be what? Not to be in despair, right?
Persecuted, but not abandoned.
We're going to be persecuted, but we ain't going to be abandoned.
Struck down, but not destroyed.
We're going to be struck down, but not destroyed. Oh, we're going to get knocked down. But we refuse to be destroyed.
That's right. That's right.
If we get up, we're going to get up. Come on, when we get up, Jesus gets up with us. We're going to get up. I'm not going to live down there saying you're alive. I'm not going to live in despair. I'm going to get up. You got to get up with me. All right?
The message says we've been surrounded and battered by troubles.
We've been surrounded and battered by trouble. Somebody know what I'm talking about over here? We've been surrounded and battered by troubles. Right? All of us have, right?
But we're not demoralized.
But we're not demoralized. And we refuse to be demoralized because we have an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present God. All right?
Pastor, we're not sure what to do, but we know that God
We're not sure what to do, but the Bible says, but God knows what?
He knows what to do.
He knows what to do. When I don't know what to do, He knows what to do. That's why I will not live in despair. Save your life. Because I'm not lost. As long as I'm holding God's hand, He knows what to do. He knows what to do, when to do, who to do in my life. Amen? All right.
Spiritually terrorized.
And we've been spiritually terrorized. Oh, yeah. We've been spiritually terrorized. Have you been there? Somebody been there what I'm talking about? Spiritually terrorized. You see what I'm saying? Keep going.
But God hasn't left our side.
But God hasn't left my side. Satan came and tried to spiritually terrorize me. He's trying to tell me, you ain't this, you ain't that. They don't like you, they don't want you, you blah, 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 blah. You a lying demon. Oh, you a lying demon, all right? You're a liar. He's a liar, and he's the father of lies. And anybody that listens to that lying demon, he's the father of lies, and you his children. But if you God's children, you ain't going to listen to his lies. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right?
We've been thrown down, but we haven't.
Oh, yeah, we've been thrown down. We got some news we didn't want to hear. We've been put in some situations that we didn't want to be in. It throws us back financially, mentally, spiritually, but we refuse to what? We refuse to be broken. I refuse to be broken. Amen to that. All right?
And finally, in 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4, it says, the weapons we fight with are not the weapons of
We don't fight with the weapons of the world.
On the contrary, they have divine power to destroy and demolish strongholds.
We have that. They're trying to mess with my strong, you lying today. Say, save your life. Get your hands off me.